AM Extra, a new study estimates more than 10 million children across the globe are grieving the death of a parent or caregiver because of COVID-19.
Portland-based nonprofit Dougy Center provides free in-person support to children and families who are grieving. Joining us live with more on the nonprofit is the executive director, Brennan Wood. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me this morning.
Well, we'll talk about the extent of the problem, but we understand that you did get some funding. Where did that funding come from, and what will it do to help families?
Yes, we sure did. We got funding from the Brave of Heart Fund, which is a fund created by a few different insurance companies to support families after a death of a loved one to COVID-19. New York Life Foundation started it with a few other partners, and we were the beneficiaries in order to promote and help support kids and families after the death of a parent from COVID-19.
You know, everyone's experience with grief is so personal and so different, but are you finding that for families who have experienced a death from COVID-19, are there some specifics to how someone might be handling it or coping it that you're able to address more specifically?
Yeah, well, I would say that, prior to the pandemic, 1 in 13 kids in the United States would experience the death of a parent or a sibling before the age of 18. So even prior to the pandemic, this really is a public health issue for us as a nation. And certainly the pandemic has exacerbated that. And we are seeing so many more kids and families impacted by the death of someone. And, certainly there has been stigma related to these deaths that otherwise might not have happened for families. Kids and families have felt more isolated over the last 2 years, which also can compound, grief. And so it really is a time where we need to come together to support kids after a death of a family member.
What kind of impact does it have on those kids? I mean, what are you seeing? What do you have to treat when you encounter kids who have gone through this?
Yeah, so being one of those kids myself, my mom died when I was 12 and I came to the Dougy Center in 1987. I can tell you that it is, a seminal event in kids' lives. It changes everything. And certainly kids need support, they need community, they need understanding, they need people that are willing to listen to them, acknowledge what they're going through, tell them the truth. And really give them an opportunity to express their grief in their own time, in their own way. And at Dougy Center, that's what we do. We provide a peer support model where kids can come together with other kids who've had a similar experience to really talk about what they've gone through and also have fun with one another, play with one another, and feel like they can be in community with other kids who get what they're experiencing.
We've seen how we connect change over the last couple of years. Are you starting to bring back some more in-person programs? Are you maintaining some virtual programs? What's available right now?
Yes, both. That's a great question. And we came back to in-person groups in October, and we are last October. So, it's been almost a year. And we have both in-person and virtual options for families for their comfort level as well as ease of service. Perhaps if they're farther away from one of our 3 Dougy Center locations, they might want to choose a virtual option. But we have seen a 400% increase in requests for orientation since we've been back in person. The Dougy Center has always had a lot of need for our services, and there's never been a time where we haven't had kids kind of on our wait list. We try to get kids into the program as quickly as possible and provide resources and support while they're waiting, but we have seen a huge increase, and certainly support from this community helps us to lessen the wait and lessen the amount of people waiting.
Brennan Wood, you do great work at the Dougy Center, familiar with your organization. We appreciate you joining us on AM Extra.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate being here.
And for more information on the Dougy Center, we have a link posted in the AM Extra section on coin.com.